Hi, good afternoon. I'm Stephanie Heidemann, the founder of Authentic Voicework, the yoga of the voice. I'm here to talk to you today about different tools that you can use for expressive arts therapists and other artists or anyone really that likes to use the expressive arts therapies in their own personal practice, either for spiritual or healing purposes. And I sort of wanted to reach out to the expressive arts therapy community. I have friends all over the world that are practitioners of expressive arts therapy. So big shout out to you. I am here in Bloomington, Indiana. And many of you know me from Sarasota, Florida, where I used to practice there. I'm just a little bit about me. I'm not a licensed expressive arts therapist. I am an artist, musician, and a licensed massage therapist. And I did my bachelor's in expressive arts therapy through Indiana University's independent major program back in the 90s when the field of expressive arts therapy was really just being formed, and we were all finding the words for it and saying, gosh, we're almost inventing it as we go, right? So I'm here to talk to people about how they can incorporate various tools of authentic voice work or just voice work into your personal practice or your professional practice. So I had actually a list of like 20 different exercises that I could share, but I really wanted to break it down into some bare bones. So I'm just going to jump right in. So the first theme that I always start with is a body-based practice. The voice is an extension of the body and the breath. And as a trained classical vocalist and folk musician, I've been singing, world music and early music. But I was also classically trained by Brenda Boozer, who was my mentor. She is also a Kundalini yogi. So, and she always taught or teaches out of New York and North Carolina. She always teaches from the body and the breath, that always comes first. So I always want to give her credit for what she taught me and what I bring into this practice. So voice work takes the principles of expressive arts therapy, but really puts it into the body through the breath and the voice. Without the breath, there is no voice. The breath is an extension, the voice is an extension of the breath. So something that you can do is body-based exercises where you can just do a scan or really tuning into the body and the breath, whether it's having a client or you can do this yourself, lying down on a mat or the floor, or simply sitting comfortably, nice and tall in a chair and relaxing and finding the breath. And, you can having your hands placed on the heart or the solar plexus as a good way to tune in. So we're just going to do that right now as a demonstration. So tuning into the breath. Nice deep breath here through the nose, out through the mouth. One more. And another way to tap into voice work is really relaxing the body, mind. You can get very distracted by the stories that we tell ourselves about our voice. And so getting into the body is a good way to get out of the analytics of singing or the analytics of expression, all of the stories. I apologize, my screen is very grainy and I've been trying to adjust the settings, so I'll have to work on that, but couldn't see anything in the resolution in the settings, so sorry about that. So back to body-based breath work. Next, we're going to put a tone, just a single tone, could be any tone sound in front of the breath. So imagine this is your breath and you're carrying it with a tone, okay? Nice even air pressure, nice deep breath. Two more, maybe a different sound this time. You can do vowel sounds or you can use consonants as well. Ma. So thinking of toning as an extension of the breath, this is a really good way to get out of the head and into the physical practice of vocalizing. So you can also incorporate movement into this, of course. Expressive arts therapists love to bring movement into the multimodal approach. So this is the way that I bring multimodal approach into voice work. So we're going to try an exercise that uses lines and curves. Okay, so we're going to vocalize a line. Again, we're doing the same thing, just toning, but we're going to move our voice along with a movement of a curve. Okay. Okay, or just even simple. Right, like a big sigh. And you can take that even farther with different textures or dots or patterns. So I'm going to try a swirl, okay? And some dots. So now we're going to combine all of these different ones. And I'm just going to play in an abstract way with texture and line and breath. Okay, can be very, very simple. And you can bring rhythm into it. You can bring the rhythm of the breath, like something like that. Again, bringing movement into it is a great way to get out of the head and into the body. Next, the second approach is is about abstract, nonverbal approaches to get out of, a lot of my work is about getting out of the head and into the abstract nonverbal brain or the creative brain. Why do we do that? Because when we incorporate words, we're getting into that verbal part of our brain, which is much more analytical and tends to be the area where we judge, we self-judge, and we analyze what we're doing. So we want to get out of that part of our brain and into the nonverbal. So while sometimes I'll teach songs that do have words, I like to have people make up their own abstract nonverbal sounds, and you can stimulate people's imaginations by giving them exercises where there is no right or wrong. For example, asking someone to sing color, temperature, or texture, or yeah, let's just start with those. So I'm going to, I'm going to sing color. I'm going to think of the color blue. I'm thinking of the color blue. I'm just going to breathe into that. And you can do this standing up as well, or you can have your client standing up. Eyes closed helps, so you can get out of, the world of representation and more just allowing your body to demonstrate what that feels like, what that color feels like to you. And you can incorporate elements, maybe imagining the blue sky in a September Midwest, fall sky, deep hues of the blue sky. So that's my interpretation of a blue sky in September in Bloomington. So bringing the elements in is a great way to really tap into the abstract mind, the creative mind. And we can make sounds from, that emulate nature. Like if I'm pretending like I'm sitting by the river, there's so many sounds that I could think of, the birds that are nearby, or maybe there's a frog that jumped into the water, or the babbling brook, that's passing by the rocks, and maybe some leaves are falling down into the river and passing us by. We can imagine, whatever is passing us by. There's so much movement that happens within the elements. So I often like to have people pretend that they are in that environment and walking around it, so they are fully immersed. So they're having an immersion experience. So it also feels like something's happening to you. You are not only just creating that experience, you are responding to it. So I think that's really important in art, in the artist immersion experience, to feel like it's also happening to you and you're responding. I think a lot of intimidation and self-censorship comes from feeling like we have to be the sole creator, we have to be the god of this piece that we're doing, and it has to be perfect. But really, we are creating an experience, and we're responding to it in the moment with our voices and our imaginations. Abstract, and of course, incorporating movement into it, staying in the body. Then the third theme that I really like to work with is and I already talked about this a little bit, is combining modalities, movement and image, movement and sound. Sometimes I like to bring a collage, or maybe there's a painting or a drawing that we can do. For example, sometimes I'll ask people to draw to do a scan of their body, like doing a lying down on a yoga mat or on the floor, just kind of in shavasana, as they say in yoga, in resting pose, and just getting into relaxation meditation, scanning the body, and seeing your energy field. And then I'll ask people to, after that meditation is over, and this, seeing kind of images of your body, then to directly go right into drawing, an abstract drawing or painting, using pastels, colored pencils, crayons, markers, whatever you have around, and doing a drawing of what you saw in your mind's eye, of your energetic field, your body. And often, with working with the voice, I always have them pay extra attention to their throat, to their voice as an extension of the body, as voice work really is the energy that's being expressed from you. And it really does include your identity within your voice and the energy that you carry forth in the world. So from there, we take an abstract painting, the abstract drawing, and we can vocalize that. So let's say this is my drawing, just a blank page right now, obviously. And let's say this is my drawing. Just gonna draw a little spiral. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this is my drawing. This is my drawing for now. And I'm going to sing, vocalize a representation of my drawing that I just did. So I'll just hold it up. Okay. I'm going to look at it with my eyes opened, and looking into it, I'm going to just vocalize without even thinking. So maybe I'm starting here, and I'm going to let this move my voice by following the movement of the painting. So that's it for me, just short little ones. So those are individual exercises that you can do on your own, in the privacy of your own home, or you can do with a client. So just being a witness to your client as they do those exercises. So those are all individual practices. I also have partner exercises and group exercises. So all of these things can also be done as a group or with just one other person as a partner. It's really important to have a witness so that it provides the experience of being seen and heard. So that you have an experience of existing, of your private voice existing in the world. Most of the time, we tuck that voice in the back of our throat or we shove it down. I won't say most of the time. Many of us have had that experience of self-censorship, either because of survival. It's a survival skill, and it's part of human nature to learn when is an appropriate time to self-censor. Sometimes that turns into self-sabotage. Yes, it's true. And sometimes it is a survival skill in order to do that in society. But then as a grown adult who's seeking self-actualization, it's important to become aware of when that self-censorship is self-sabotage and when it's important to overcome with tools of uncensoring ourselves. So having a partner to do this with you, is really, really powerful. It brings even more, sometimes it brings even more anxiety because it's like, oh my gosh, I'm really being seen and heard now. I can do this exercise in my closet, but the power is getting out of the closet, right? And being seen and heard for who you truly are in your authentic self. So one way of doing that with a partner, just one other person, which is very, very intimate, is a mirroring exercise. And that incorporates the body-based exercise, the abstract and combined modalities, those three themes that I talked about: body-based, abstract nonverbal, and the combined modalities, those three characteristics. So mirroring, you've seen maybe the miming exercises where you maybe move in one way and the other person is moving in the same way. And then you're very, very, very in tune. You're getting in tune literally with that person. You're connecting with them empathically. So one person is the mover and vocalizer, and the other person is the mirror. So so literally here's one person and then here's the partner, and this person is moving and this person is mirroring it back to them, right? So let's say this person is making all of the creative choices. They're going to do this with their eyes. You can do it with your eyes closed if you feel like you really need to stay kind of in your zone a little better and not be thrown off by seeing that person mirroring you. And you can still hear them as you are vocalizing yourself. You're doing whatever creative vocalization that you're doing. You can be very, very playful. You can both laugh your butts off. It's great, but that person should also try to get into a grounded place with their breath. And that person's mirroring back. And it's an experience of validation. It's an experience of what not only being seen and heard, but this mirror person, partner, is validating back what they have heard and seen. So they're mimicking the movement as well as the sound. So that's a great partner exercise to do with voice work. And then last, we just have in group practice. So if you have a group that you're working with, expressive arts therapists, or any kind of therapist, or someone who incorporates expressive arts therapy approaches, teaching in groups, artists or somebody who does work in corporate groups, team building exercises, doesn't just have to be a therapist. You can do things like a fun game, like I do pass the ball, where imagine I have a sound and I'm going to throw it to somebody across the circle, and I'm going to meet them eye to eye. So we're all standing in a circle. Sorry, let me start with that. We're standing in a circle, and I'm going to start with a sound of my own, and I'm going to throw it to somebody in the circle. It doesn't have to go, in the circle to the next person next to you. It can be very fun and playful if you throw it across the circle, and that way everybody has to be kind of on their toes, watching to see if they're going to be the next person to have that sound thrown to them. And it's a call and answer exercise. So if I'm going to take a sound, let's say I'm going to go here, right? And I'm going to throw it to somebody across the circle. That person is going to catch that sound, and they have to respond. So it's call and response, right? And they're going to throw that sound to somebody else. It's hilarious. It is very funny, and people get very, very playful. It's a great icebreaker. So yeah, that's really easy, and there's just no right or wrong, and it's totally body based. It's like, you're doing a sport, you're playing ball. It's nonverbal. You're staying out of that analytical place, and you can be as silly as you want to get into that playful place. And there's lots of other group exercises too. You can do toning. If you want to take a more meditative approach, you can do that sitting on the ground in a circle, eyes closed, getting kind of into a toning space. Then people can test their creativity and courage for improvisation and responding to the whole group. So those are probably a lot more than 3 exercises, but basically within the theme of body-based exercises, abstract nonverbal, and combining modalities as a way to incorporate voice work into your expressive arts therapy practice. So I hope that you enjoyed that, and I hope that you could have some takeaways. Let's see. Yeah, I hope you have some takeaways for what you can do in your expressive arts therapy practice. And if you have any questions for me or are interested in individual sessions or bringing authentic voice work workshops to your area, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can contact me on the authenticvoicework.com website. Thank you so much.